personal interview. So today we will be discussing some key points which should be considered if you want to do well in your interviews, right? Remember, an interview is an interaction between an interviewer and a candidate for both parties to know about each other, right? That's an interaction between two parties, right? One who is an interviewer, another the candidate, and this is a platform where both the parties get to know more about each other. Now, when attending a personal interview, you want to impress your interviewer by projecting a professional image of yourself. The better prepared you are, the better your chances are of walking out of the interview with a confident smile on your face. It is therefore important to make yourself stand out as someone special, right? So there are some key points which are going to differentiate you from other candidates and will enhance your skills, right? Skills of giving an interview. Ultimately, they will enhance your overall personality and enable you to be successful in the interview part, right? Remember some key points. The first one is know yourself, right? Beware of your interests, abilities, experiences and values as they relate to your occupation. So first point that should be taken care of is know yourself. Recognize your abilities, your values, your interests, because they are going to help you out in seeking a proper occupation and an appropriate designation. So the first point that should be considered, right, is know yourself. Number two, do your homework. Research the company beforehand so that you can showcase the knowledge during an interview, right? This is going to boost your credibility with the interviewer and will help you to impress and be successful. So it is better to do your homework, do a little bit of research on the company and to gain an extra insight as well as the information about that company, as this is going to land up, this is going to enhance your knowledge about the company and will surely lead you to the path of success in an interview. So do your homework. Number three, look the part. Your clothing should be neat, well ironed and professional looking. So the third one is look the part, right? Next, you should always rehearse beforehand. Rehearse beforehand signifies that prior to your interview, prepare answers to common questions like why do you want to join our organization, what are your strengths and weaknesses, right? Why should we hire you, and the ever popular tell me something about yourself, right? You can always conduct some mock interviews with a trusted friend of yours for practice. So this is very important to rehearse beforehand, right? You should always practice for the final day along with your trusted friends and to prepare solid answers on questions like, about your strengths and weaknesses, the ever popular, tell us something about yourself, why do you want to join our organization, why should we hire you. So you should always rehearse beforehand and prepare answers for the ever popular questions, right? Next is secure your references. Now this is very important. Find at least 3 key people. They might include your former supervisor, supervisors, your colleagues or instructors who are willing to serve as your professional references. Be sure to secure their permission beforehand. I mean, you should always take their permission beforehand and be certain that they are going to speak highly of you. So secure your references. Your references part, and you should always take their permission beforehand, and you are giving their names as your references, and they must speak highly of you. That's very important, right? Next, for an interview, you should always arrive early. Right? You should always reach the place at least 15 to 20 minutes in advance. You should always reach before 15 to 20 minutes before your interview. Must always visit the restroom and check your appearance. Announce yourself to the receptionist to let her know that you have arrived. You might also turn your cell phone off, or you might also keep it on the silence mode so that the interviewer does not get disturbed. So you should always arrive early at least 15 to 20 minutes beforehand, before the interview. Next, bring necessary documentation. You should always come up with the copies of your resume, your academic qualifications, your experience certificates, right? You should always bring proper documents along with your passport size photographs. So that's the next one, that you should always bring necessary documentation. Right, after that, the most important point comes is to sell yourself properly. Now the interview is your chance to shine. So now is not the time to be humble. Develop a 30 seconds sales pitch, right, which sings your praises. In business, we call this as an elevator speech, right? A complete overview of why you, right? It should always include your abilities, your strengths, and the qualities that sets you apart from the other candidates. So you should be properly selling yourself, and that's the next one. The next point is sell yourself. Right. Next, after selling yourself comes the most crucial part. Don't neglect to ask questions. Right. Sometimes the candidates are hesitant to ask questions, but this part should never be neglected. You should always ask questions relating to the organization, relating to the job profile, because the interviews are often impressed by the candidates who are willing to know, who are showing interest in the profile as well as in the organization. And this might also tell them about the kind of research that you might have done and the interest that you are showing off in the organization as well as in the job profile. So don't hesitate or don't neglect to ask questions. And the final one, that is follow up. Right after the interview, even in the closing part, you should always thank the interviewer for sparing the time as well as for the kind of experience that you have had during the meeting. And after the interview is done, you can always follow up. You can always follow up by sending a gentle note in your handwriting or by email to thank him, right, for the time that he spared and for the experience that you have had. This is in the follow up, and you might also mention, right, you might also mention, and as I said, you might spring a few words of praise in the last step, that is follow up. Right. So these are my tips for you to to be successful in the interviews. Give you a brief recap. First one is know yourself, right? That is, you must always be aware of your interests, values, abilities, your experiences. Do your homework, research the company beforehand so that you can always showcase the knowledge during the interview. This is going to boost your credibility with the interviewers. Look apart. The kind of clothing that you are putting up is going to give a first-hand impression in the minds of the interviewer. So your clothes should be properly ironed, should be neat and giving you a professional look. Rehearse beforehand, should always rehearse beforehand and prepare the answers of the ever popular questions like tell us something about yourself, why do you want to join our organization, what are your strengths and weaknesses. And you can always rehearse these things along with a trusted friend of yours. Secure your references, should always secure the references and take the permission beforehand, and they should always speak highly of you, right? So that giving information about them is justified. Should always arrive early, at least 15 to 20 minutes in advance, and you should always check your appearance. Then should always bring necessary documentation, the copies of your resume, the academic qualifications, the experience certificates, the passport size photographs. Should always carry necessary documentation to avoid any sort of confusion during the interview. Sell yourself, that's very important. As I have said, you should always develop a 30 seconds sales pitch which is going to sing praises of you. It should always include your abilities, your strengths, your qualities that are going to set you apart from the other candidates. Don't neglect to ask questions about the organization or about the job profile, as they might give an impression to the interviewer that you are having certain degree of interest in the organization as well as the job profile. And follow up. Follow up is very necessary. Should always send him a vote of thanks, or either your handwritten note or by email. So that would always give a reminder to the organizations that you are pretty interested in the job. So these are the most important tips that must be considered if you want to do well in your interviews.